Good evening, everyone. Friday night, 8 o'clock. What better time to preview Peterborough United versus Bolton Wanderers? I am joined tonight by alleged Peterborough United expert and lovely boy, Charlie. Charlie, how has your week been? When did we last record? Was it Sunday? Yes, it was. After Lincoln.
Yeah.
How have we been since then?
Yeah, I mean, Lincoln was a weird one, wasn't it? I wasn't too gutted after it, I'm not going to lie. Did not live long in the memory, much unlike the game last year. I said after the game that it hurt more this year, losing conceding 5 goals. I actually think the reason I felt that way was because I actually had a bit of pride of the lads, in the lads. And I thought it was a good performance overall. Whereas last year I was just fuming. This year I actually looked back at it and I was bored today. I'm not back at uni yet. I don't have a huge amount to do with my life. So I watched quite a lot of that full 90 back from the Lincoln game. And we played some brilliant football. Like we were, other than a couple of moments of really poor defence, fantastic. So I'm not gonna dwell on that. I'm still feeling very good about the Williams revolution. Other than that, been a pretty quiet week. Everyone's going back to school and work now. So yeah, as I said, I'm pretty idle, doing an essay for uni, which is neither here nor there, as Phil Adlam would say. Yeah, I just don't know. Excited for football tomorrow.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm as well. And before we bring in our first guest, I'm going to pull up a couple of comments, just to keep everyone on their toes. We will tonight absolutely be discussing the departures of Klaidi Lolos, Chris Conn-Clarke, which is an extension of a departure, and Ryan de Havilland. But for anybody that's wanting to hear our thoughts on the new co-owners of Peterborough United, we are going to save that opinion for our episode that will be out on Monday at 7 o'clock, because we're hoping that it's going to be potentially 5 of us, and bookworm / Excel spreadsheet nerd Harry is going to be on to hopefully tell us all about it. But let's pull up this first one from Peter Shaw. It's been 60 years since his first game watching January 1966. He was 5, which means if it's been 60 years, he must be 95 now. No! 65 now.
Are you silly?
30 years. It's way past bedtime.
It also says, I am now 65 in the message.
Yeah, no, I got ahead of myself. I started reading, and he still has hope for promotion, which is going to lead me on to my next comment from Ben North, who says that it might be unrealistic given some of the inconsistency, but everyone in this league is inconsistent. And what's the point in football if you don't dream anyway? Next up, look, would be remiss of us not to comment on this. Yes, we had another episode, another dig that we put stuff out too often. Hey ho, it is what it is. People still listen, don't they?
We claim to have saturated the market, according to Dara. Well, we still get good views, Dara, and people are still enjoying the content. So until we see them views dip below normal standards, we'll be saturating away, my friend.
And then Paulie, will our new owners and their families turn up tomorrow wearing Birmingham scarves? I cannot see many mad keen Posh fans would be bothering with these half and half monstrosities. Look, as I said, we will discuss that on tomorrow's recording, which we're going to do at 6 o'clock, and then it will be out on Monday for everyone. But without further ado, right, go on, Chaz.
I was just going to say, we're going to be discussing that, but I'm not going to slam them for wearing half and half scarves in that picture, if that's what people are expecting. Like, I didn't even realise they were wearing half and half scarves. It's not... we will discuss it, but come on, that's a bit harsh.
Look, yeah, you're right. Right, let's bring Jack in, or Trotters Talks EFL. Good evening, Jack. How are you?
Hi, lads. How are we? Thank you for having me back on again.
No, it was great. You were great to have on last time, and I am delighted to have you join us. I think we should probably start with how things have been for Bolton since you beat us at the Tough Sheet.
Well, how long have you got? An absolute roller coaster, to be honest. Looked steady in parts after the Peterborough game, and then it kind of became the away form's not been there all season. We all know that. Just can't pick up a result away from home, and the home games have kind of been our consistent format to stay in that top 6 area, and game after game, it's looked more and more likely that we're not going to get away with it. I think the final straw was Rotherham. We were 1-0 down to a horrible Rotherham side. Sorry, Rotherham fans, you're just not very good at footy this year. But we scored 2, got back into it, and then it's kind of crashed and burned. The big Mansfield loss at home, going 16 unbeaten and then losing, was just put us in a bit of a spiral. And since then, it's just been a lack of consistency, finding any sort of output. Scoring a goal has become so difficult for us this season, in this last month or two. And I'm not seeing much of an opening on how we improve from that.
Yeah, I agree with you about Rotherham, by the way. They are a dreadful football team, aren't they? I mean, yeah, so you mentioned your form. And to be honest, going into the game, before I went on a different Bolton pod last night, I didn't realise that you guys were really in a bad way at all. I guess, what is it, those 2 draws and just the lack of creativity that's really frustrating you guys?
Yeah, well, there's always, the thing you'll learn about Bolton is there's always an expectation there. We've got a huge history, and a lot of people expect us to be in the Premier League right now. And, you know, we can't kid ourselves. We are right now a League One team, but there is an expectation there for Bolton to do well. The thing I'm bothered about is not necessarily the results. It's the system. And like you said, the lack of creativity. It's very one-dimensional. It's getting very boring and confusing, and kind of everyone looks separate. Nobody looks in, like, we're not a team, we're not a unit anymore, and it's getting very similar to Everett vibes, which I know, which is a bit of a curse word over at Bolton. You don't really say his name too much, but we are. I'm not saying we're there, but we could very easily get there in the next 3 months.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. I mean, so we've had a manager change at Posh this season. Is there looking like there might be a manager change at Bolton then? Is the tide slowly turning against Schumacher?
I will never want a manager out until it's absolutely necessary. And to me, Steven Schumacher, for right now, is safe. I completely support the manager. I think he's definitely shown he's less stubborn than Ian Evatt. He can make changes. He can move the team around. Some of the changes he's made during games has won us. He has single-handedly won us multiple games by bringing people on. For example, Sam Dolby during the Huddersfield game, stuff like that. The main issues I think we need to be addressed, and I think there needs to be some sort of regroup during January, whether that's bringing in someone new, as in player-wise, or sticking to a system. Because right now, if you go check our starting 11 for every game this season, it's always slightly different. We still don't know our best starting 11. And that's, you know, Schumacher's hit his 50th game recently. Is that enough time where you should know your best 11?
Yeah, do you know what, Jack? I've got a question on somebody who seemed to be in red hot form and scored 2 against us in Mason Burstow. From what I can see, he is gone incredibly cold at the moment. What's happened there?
If anyone who does watch my stuff know me, I absolutely adore Mason Burstow. He's probably one of my favourite players Bolton have ever had. He's a striker that works hard off the ball, creates space for himself, can take a shot, pardon me, can take a strike from anywhere. He's a very capable striker for this level. But a huge debate that's going on at the minute is whether it's the striker's fault or is it the system and the way we're playing football isn't creating any chances for the strikers. Is Cozier-Duberry, Thierry Gale not getting in the spaces available enough? Or when Cozier-Duberry gets in the space near the byline, is Mason Burstow not getting in quick enough? It's a big debate going on at the moment. And my opinion right now is the system's wrong. Cozier-Duberry's very, for most of the majority of teams we play, is pinned by 3 or 4 players. Cyrus Christie at right back, who is absolutely unbelievable, don't get me wrong, isn't an overlapping fullback. Therefore, Cozier-Duberry's on his own for most of the game, so there's nowhere to play the ball into. And I think we're just kind of relying on Cozier-Duberry to make something happen. And if he's being marked by 3 or 4 players, they're, by any person who knows football, if 3 or 4 people are marking one player, there should be a lot more space for the rest of the team. So I don't know what's going on there at all.
Yeah, I want to ask you about another player who has been getting a lot of stick from your fans I've seen online recently, and he's all too familiar to us Posh fans, and that's Joel Randall. You spent, over £1 million on him last January from us. Is it fair to say that's been not the best money you've spent?
Just, you know the answer to that. You're just rubbing it in there, aren't you? Yeah, I'll always try to support the players, and every game, if you start by booing a player before he's even kicked the ball, he's never going to succeed. But Joe Randall isn't a right fit for us. I've come to that conclusion. He's, to be fair, he played a game. I think it might have been not Mansfield. There was a game where he played and he pressed really well and he worked really hard off the ball. And I think during the Northampton game, that's why he was brought on quite early, and a lot of fans were confused by that because we were getting a decent press on Northampton. But I just didn't understand bringing him. I think he's just too far gone, where no matter what he does, he could score 6 goals against you tomorrow, and I just still don't think he'd be on our side. That's just kind of the position we're in.
Joe, that's absolute nightmare fuel. That is the thought of Joel Randall coming to London Road and scoring 6 goals. Look, Jack, I'd like to ask you your opinion on another man that has left Posh today to go on loan to Crawley, Klaidi Lolos. Obviously, we discussed when you were on last that he never really hit the ground running at Bolton, other than pretty much scoring a goal against us, like in that 90+6 where he won 1-0. Was it a surprise to see him not succeed at Peterborough United?
Absolutely, to be honest, lads. From our business standpoint, sorry, I've got a horrible tickly throat. From a business standpoint, I think Lolos was a bit of there was no risk there because we got him relatively cheap. And then obviously he went to you, and I think that was a bit of a risk. And I just couldn't see a world where Lolos brought you up a level, brought your game up a level. I didn't even see him fitting in that system very well. But a move to Crawley's not bad for him, I don't think. He was quite hailed there originally. And from what I've seen on Twitter, Crawley fans are pretty impressed with him coming over. So I hope he does well in League 2, because he did play for Bolton, but in League 1, he's absolutely gash.
Yeah, I guess what we're hoping is that it's a loan move. If he goes and gets an incredible second half of the season, maybe he'll come back a renewed man with better confidence, or maybe we'll at least be able to get a bit of money for him if he goes and gets double figures goals and assists for the second half of the season. We've spoken a lot about failures so far, but I want to ask you a bit about your successes so far this season. Who should Posh look out for tomorrow? What parts of the team are strong? What's gone right so far for Bolton? Because you're not in a terrible position in the league, are you? A lot of people would very much like to be in your position. So what's been the good?
No, you're absolutely right. Bolton are not in a horrendous position. We're 7 points off second. Our midfield especially is easily the best part of the pitch we have. Josh Sheehan is wonderful. He's coming to his own. He hadn't really seen the same effect since Schumacher had come in since the Everett days a few years ago. He kind of became a second fiddle. We brought a lot of new midfielders in, like Sivens and Erahan. But Sheehan recently has shown he is levels above League 1. He should be playing top of the Championship. I'd be very surprised if we keep him past next season. He has been that good recently.
Yeah, and so you're sort of playing a similar formation to what I would say that we play now. Obviously, we were slightly different when we played you in time gone by. So you mentioned earlier that your right back's not really an overlapping right back. Is that the same from your left back as well? Because I remember obviously Cozier-Duberry, he pretty much rinsed Benjamin or Nathan. What's his name? Do you know what? I'm having a shocker, Chaz. Jacob Mendy, get the right one. He rinsed him and he ended up going off injured. And then we didn't see him for sort of 3 months. Talk to me about what we're going to see from the left side.
Well, it's completely different, which is the really odd thing. Max Conway is, in my opinion, more of a left midfielder than a fullback. He's unbelievable at going forward, can take on 6 or 7 men. Can't get over that at all. He'll take on 6 or 7 men. Thierry Gale's also on the left. They make a good overlap with each other. I think they're absolutely brilliant, especially Max Conway. He's one to look out for.
I hope he doesn't take on 6 or 7 of our men tomorrow, because that would be very frustrating to watch. And I hope.
I've just realised the reference I've made there.
I thought honestly that was so like obvious. It felt like you've done it on purpose, like somebody.
It feels like I've done it for a dare there.
Yeah, you just kept saying 6 or 7, just really drilling home that point. The main guy on our media team loves the 6-7 jokes. He would absolutely, he'd love that. I want to ask you then, tomorrow, what are you expecting from Posh? Obviously, we're a very different team to the last time you played us. Is there anybody that you look at in our lineup that you think, that there's a dangerous player there, or you're concerned about that matchup with your players stylistically? Talk to me about Posh.
I will always be a big fan of Jimmy J. Morgan. I did an FM save with a South African team called Golden Arrows, and I got Jimmy J. Morgan on loan, and he was unbelievable for me. So I'm a big Jimmy J. Morgan fan. I really like Archie Collins as well. I think he's levels above a lot of the midfielders in this league. And I can't remember the 10. Is he from New Zealand or
Matthew Garbett?
He looks, the clips I've seen of him, he's looked absolutely superb. So them 3 players worry me.
Yeah, well, Jimmy J's been injured for the last few games, but he's back in the squad for tomorrow, so don't worry about that. You'll be able to see your star boy in action against Bolton. I guess that leads us on quite nicely then to asking what your score prediction for the game is. Are you confident? I went on the Bolton podcast last night and they predicted 3-1 Bolton and 4-2 Bolton. So do you share their optimism?
The thing is, lads, people call me a happy clapper a lot. I try to stay as positive as possible, which I really haven't come across in this podcast. But I promise you, I am pretty positive. I'm not a negative Nelly. My head is saying a 1-1 draw. That's what I'm going to go with. But I could easily see it slipping either way, more favourably to Peterborough.
And if you're going to predict a Bolton goal scorer for tomorrow, who are you going to go for?
I want it to be the striker. Whoever we start, I imagine it'll be Burstow. A Burstow goal early on, I think you're in trouble, because then if we score early on, I think it's a whole different game, because that's what we've been missing. We've been missing that goal threat. That goal, the longer we leave it, you could run us over 3 or 4-0.
Jack, one final thing before we let you go. The comments are suggesting that you go and get yourself a honey and lemon, because
mate, that's the first thing I'm doing.
Your throat is on the way out, isn't it? But thank you again for joining us this evening. You've been a fantastic guest, and just of course tell everyone where they can find you, like you did the last time.
Oh, brilliant! You can basically find me on TikTok on TrottersTalkEFL. It's what it says on the tin. Do all kinds of stuff with Bolton, EFL, all stuff like that. And I can actually cut out myself coughing for on TikTok. It's not live, so that's always a good thing. But yeah, thank you for having me, lads. It's been unbelievable.
No, thank you very much. And look, outside out of tomorrow, I hope that you have a great season, because Bolton have always been flirting with getting promoted, haven't they? But it's probably about time that a team like Bolton made their way up to the Championship, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? And best of luck with you lot over than tomorrow. I'm always got a soft spot for Peterborough, and you lads obviously winning your award. You've done some great stuff recently. It's been really cool to see.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll speak to you soon.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Right, Chaz, where were we?
Got
anything to say?
I feel ill after watching that. That his sneezing got to me. I feel like it was contagious. Bless him, he was struggling. Fair play to him for actually coming on. Max would have been fuming, because Max hates when ill players play through illness. But it was good. It was good of him to.
Max hates all of our players, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Right, where were we? Vicky Allen Got to say, I prefer your podcast, Hard Truth. Cool, that's delicious.
No, Vicky, we saturate the market. There's, we're terrible compared to them.
All we do is just put out relentless content. Nobody likes it. Nobody listens to it, do they? So, what can you do? Mark Salt said, if Charlie is idle, I could find him a few jobs. You've got some articles coming your way. It sounds like we're going to be doing daily articles next week, Charlie. Well done. You've signed yourself up for that, haven't you?
Oh, God.
Charlie Newman said, and we should have probably brought this on whilst Jack was on. Since October, I follow Trotters and your content is amazing. Fair play. Now, this is an interesting one. Any chance tomorrow will be like Charlton and a late postponement as Huntingdon Races was abandoned today due to frozen course? No chance. I am not a horse expert, but I'm pretty sure that where they do the running is literally just grass and then
it's like a field,
isn't it? And soil, like there's no like sand to it. There's no stitch pitch, which all of those things that we've got Posh, right? And the rain in Peterborough has been biblical today, and I would imagine that's probably defrosted the pitch quite nicely. So I think absolutely no risk that the game is off tomorrow. And look, call to action. Get on tickets, the Posh ticketing website. Get your tickets for tomorrow. The game will be on. If it's not, well, bad luck. You'll have to use your tickets for the Tuesday rearranged game. But I am incredibly confident that this game's going to be on. Where else were we? Ed says that the GH... Hang on, I've just put up the wrong one. Where did that go? There we go, wrong one.
That's a different person too, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's the one I wanted, though. But it said... No, that's the one I wanted. But it said that it was Ed's comment. So I think that StreamYard's just bugging out. GH display stand is going to be popping off tomorrow. I hope so. Looks like E3's nearly sold out. So get your tickets in there. And if not, E4 is the overflow. We're getting closer to that time where the season tickets are going to be announced. And fingers crossed, we can have season tickets in the GH display for next season. What's my verdict? What's our verdict on Joel Randall, Chaz?
I will boo his every touch tomorrow. I hate the guy. I think he's one of the biggest losers we've ever had play for us in my time watching the club. I think, he is he's the reason why us Southerners get a bad reputation, because he just is the proper epitome of when the going gets tough, he just absolutely, lowers his head and ducks out of the limelight. He should have been a massive player for us last season after signing that big contract. He was probably the highest paid player at the club after he signed that new deal. And the fact that he then, after Fergie had a go at him on the training ground or something, he then decides, you know what, I'm going to sack this off and go to Bolton anyway, is very poor form. And Bolton fans have found him out. And I think the thing about Joel Randall is he's very good in a good team, isn't he? When everyone around him's doing their job, he's a great little player to just link up the play, nice little touches of class. And we did see some very good Joel Randall performances when he was playing for us. But when he's being asked to step up and bear a bit of responsibility on his shoulders, you look at the way, for example, Poku handled last season, where when we were playing poorly, he just found a way to get us goals and assists and break teams down. Joel Randall will never be that player. And I think Bolton fans have seen that. The football's become a bit more difficult for them recently, and they have needed to dig in a bit more and be a bit more physical. And he just isn't up to it. And I agree with Charlie. I think he's an absolute weapon.
Wow. I did not think that comment would provoke that response. I am surprised by that. I must say that I do think there's been times, certainly whilst Darren Ferguson was our manager and Joel Randall was not at the football club, that it did feel like there was possibly... It felt like we were missing Joel Randall. It felt like we were missing that final ball that we know that he can find. But we're on to bigger and better things now, aren't we? Would we have signed Matthew Garbett if we still had Joel Randall at the club? Probably not. And I mean, going from a local lad up to an international superstar, what an upgrade that turned out to be. But let's not keep our Peterborough United guest hanging any longer. He's sat in the lobby waiting patiently. I'm going to bring him in now. It is, of course, Peterborough United's best vlogger, Cape United. Caden, how are you this Friday evening?
I'm good, thank you.
Are you looking forward to tomorrow's game, Caden?
Not really, coming off the Lincoln result. But
yeah, what did you make
I mean,
of Lincoln? I just wanted to say, what was your view of that? Because I was quite optimistic at the start of this live. Are you the same?
yeah, I mean, the first 30 minutes were great, but the collapse was really, really, really poor from us. And I mean, we obviously knew a loss was coming eventually, but it's just a shame that it happened in the way that it did. Our defending was sluggish, and Lincoln were by far the better side. For after the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, we were talking about the defence in the group chat that we have, and Tom Lee's got our Player of the Month for December for the podcast, but you were quite critical of Tom Lee's. I remember when we were discussing it. So, what are your thoughts on him?
Look, he was signed as a backup initially because we needed the depth, and when he had to play, I thought he's been solid so far. But my issues with him are that he's too slow on the ball, and when we're trying to create a counter attack, he sort of slows it down, which is never ideal.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm a big Tom Lee's fan. We were just talking about Joel Randall. I gave quite a harsh criticism of his time at Posh. What are your thoughts on him?
I never disliked the guy. I just thought he was too inconsistent for us. Especially in a team a couple seasons back that was, fighting for promotion. We needed him there every game, performing at his best. And a lot of the time he couldn't do that for us. And yeah, to be honest, I was happy that we were able to move him on for such a big fee as well. We got our money back for him.
Yeah, that was, I said, some of the best business we've done. Like, incredible. You've absolutely made the comments pop off, Caden. So I'll just go through some of them with you. Apparently, it's the first time you've cracked a smile online. I remember back in the Borrow My Mind days, Caden and I, before the times of UpThePoshcast, used to run a fan channel. And yeah, Caden was known for being very, very sort of solemn as he sat there. An interesting question from Matt. Why do you call yourself Cape United?
It's the first two letters of both my names, pretty much, and then I don't really know where the United came from. No idea.
Peterborough United. Yeah, you know what? I actually have never noticed that. I've known you for years, and I've never noticed that that's the first two letters of your name. Wow. Who is your current favorite or ex-favorite Posh player?
Mine is for sure. Mine is for sure Ivan Toney. He's the best player I've ever seen in a Posh shirt, for sure, and probably will be the best player I'll ever see in a Posh shirt. I thought he was brilliant for us. Yeah,
with a notable mention to Junior Marias, of course. He was once upon a time your favourite player, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was present in the first season I started supporting Posh, and I thought the guy was underrated. To be fair.
What is Caden's favourite superhero cape? A question from Fingers. Have you got a favourite superhero cape, Caden?
What is this question, Scotty? I'll say Batman.
Yeah, nice. Batman's pretty good. I like Superman's cape. I think Superman's got a very cool cape. Or if anyone's seen the show The Boys, Homelander's cape in The Boys is quality. Very, very good. We'll go back on to the questions that we actually prepared for you, Caden, because yeah, the chat is absolutely going on off topic completely. They're talking about Paw Patrol now. What are your ambitions for this season? Obviously, Luke Williams has come in. What do you make of Luke Williams? What do you make of the Williams revolution at Posh? And do you think that this playoff charge that everyone is sort of slightly mentioning at the minute, do you think it's a potential reality?
Well, I think it's been as a whole a good season so far. Obviously, the first quarter of it was not far from diabolical. And when Williams come in, he had a big job on his hands. But I think the bloke's a genius, to be fair. he's got pretty much everything spot on so far, and he's turned this team around. A squad that we thought they had no chance really, and pretty much every player that's played, has been at least solid for us so far.
I'm well with you there. Luke Williams is an absolute genius. So do you think that there's a chance then that Posh have this incredible second half of the season and get into the playoffs and crash that party, or do you think that's probably a little bit too far out of sight?
Well, I definitely think it could be possible with a few additions this month, although I don't think that'll happen personally. But it's definitely possible. League One this year is very competitive across the whole league, and I don't think there's really many standout teams this season apart from Cardiff and Lincoln. I'm sure on that. But we definitely should be pushing for the top 12 at least.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Another question from Scotty. This one's a bit more actually on topic. What's your favourite vlog you've ever done? Because I think I know what my favourite vlog you've ever done is, but I'd like to know what your favourite one is.
I think I know where you're leading to as well. It would probably be Derby away. As away vlogs go, that was the perfect game. Especially late on, we scored a couple of late goals which won us the game, and the scenes in that away ends were great. I would also say the Oxford game in the playoffs would have been up there. Those few minutes, the atmosphere that day was incredible. But
Yeah, I have to say, your vlogs are one of the things that when I've just got like a spare 5-10 minutes in the day, I just go onto your channel and relive Peterborough United memories. I actually wasn't going to say either of those two. The Oxford, they're both very well made vlogs, but for me, I actually think your vlogs of the 2 Cambridge home games, the 2 ones where we battered them, were quality. Especially the first one, the 5-0, a big long vlog. And I thought that the way, the angle you had, the way you captured the atmosphere that day was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a great day.
You know what? We should also add as well that Caden is the one that edits all of the vlogs that end up on our channel. So Caden is responsible for 2 golf day vlogs, was it? Me traveling back from Turkey to watch the game at Wembley, and the tattoo vlog as well. Nobody needs to hear this again, but I love being in front of the camera. However, my editing skills are absolutely shambolic, and Caden is a mastermind when it comes to it. So I just send Caden a load of footage and he deals with it, and that's the end product. Caden, should we talk about tomorrow? What are you expecting from the Bolton game?
Yeah, sure. I would like to see us win, to be honest. Of course, but Bolton, last time they played us off the park, especially in that first half. Their wingers were very threatening. With our current fullbacks, I'm not so confident. If they play a similar way, to be honest, I think they could definitely win the game. But as long as we're in the game for the majority of it, I'll be happy regardless of the result.
Yeah, I'm pretty feeling like we're going to win, and I'd like to see a win tomorrow. But yeah, performances at this point feel like the most important thing. Lods has just made a reference, a very niche Borrow My Mind reference. Do you remember this, Caden? It's one of my favorite Caden moments anywhere ever. A couple of people, I think, in the Posh universe will remember it. I asked Caden a question, something like, should we play a back 3 for our next game, Caden? And this was on Borrow My Mind. Caden was a regular host. He is there to talk about football, and his answer to me asking should we play a back 3 was, I'm not a manager, I'm not a tactician. To be honest, I don't know why you've asked me this question. And it was one of my favourite. Honestly, I laughed so hard. It was great. Iconic Cape United moment. Right, let's move on to your score prediction then for tomorrow's game. Actually, no. I wanted to ask you quickly about the departing players. That's the other thing that I was going to ask you about. Lolos. Talk to me about Lolos. We've not seen a lot of him, have we? It was a weird signing to begin with.
Yeah, I've not seen a lot of him personally live as well, because I don't really bother with the cup games. I think he's not really been given much of an opportunity, but when he did play, I didn't think he was terrible. And I feel like he might have done well. You know, if Williams gave him a chance, you know, I'm sure he could have got the best out of him. But yeah.
Yeah, and Chris Conn-Clarke as well. It's been confirmed that he'll be at Carlisle to at least the end of the season. Are you of the view that there is a potential route back for Chris Conn-Clarke, or do you think it is the end of the road?
No, for me. I feel like he had the chance and he didn't take it. We need players to, you know, step up as soon as possible. And obviously he was a signing from non-league, so you're not going to expect, you know, the final product straight away. But I just feel like he didn't do enough. Well, he scored a couple goals from what I can remember, but he's definitely not up to this level.
Yeah, no, I have to say I agree with you. Right, we will now ask you for your score prediction, Caden. Tomorrow, what do you think it's going to be? And if we think we're going to score, give me your first Posh goal scorer.
Well, I don't want to come on here and predict a loss on my first appearance, so I'm going to say a 2-1 Posh win, although I don't believe it. And the first goal scorer, I'll go with Harry Leonard.
Nice. It used to always be Ricky J. Jones, didn't it, when you used to make predictions? So Harry Leonard is your new Ricky J. Jones. Well, thank you for joining us, Caden. Will you be vlogging the game tomorrow?
I will, yeah.
Where will you be recording from? Are you in the family stand or are you in the GH?
I'm in the family stand, so yeah, gonna get the best angle.
Nice. Well, I look forward to viewing that tomorrow evening, if you can do your quick edits as usual. Yes, Caden. Yeah, that'll be good. Go sub to Cape United on YouTube. I know we take the mick out of him, but honestly, it is the best Posh short form content anywhere. You know, the 5 to 10 minute vlogs. They are such good entertainment, especially after a win. To be able to go and watch from the stand is just brilliant. So yeah, well done, Caden, for everything you're doing. Keep it up, and can we have an UpThePoshcast?
Yeah, appreciate that. And UpThePoshcast.
UpThePoshcast.
Thanks, Caden.
No worries.
Right, Chaz. Shall we go back to the comments?
Yeah, let's get through them. I picked some of them out because they all lost their minds over Peterborough United celebrity.
Right. I'm going back before that. Dino the lad says GH is so quiet when we're behind the drawing. They need to sing all game long. That's a tough ask.
Listen, Dino, get in there then. Stand in the front row of E3, turn around and look at everyone and start all the chants, mate. Come on, if I see Dino singing for the entire 90 minutes tomorrow, then fair enough. But sometimes you need a break. Your voice gets tired. I used to be a performer. I know that you can't sing for 90 minutes straight. You have to let yourself recharge the vocal cords. I think that the atmosphere in the GH has been pretty consistently great this season, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'd just like to see that drum back down at the front, but I'm not sure that my hopes and dreams will be fulfilled. Next question now. This is an interesting one. GH should do half sections with Bolton and Posh fans separate when we played against Bolton in 23-24. I'm going to let you into a little snippet here. Whether I'm allowed to or not, I'm going to say it anyway. It's actually less cost effective for the club to split the GH in half because of the additional stewarding costs and segregation costs. And although you would then get more ticket sales in that designated stand, it actually ends up costing them more money, which is why they don't do it. So we need to get to a point where the GH is open and we are selling. Well, I like to say, I think 1,000. 1,000 in there is a good number. I don't think we're going to get that tomorrow because of the reasons that we explained earlier. But yeah, I think if we can get to 1,000, let's go from probably when the weather gets nicer as well, like March onwards. That would be a good target to hit, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, on a day like tomorrow as well, Bolton have brought 1,000 fans, or are going to bring just over 1,000, which probably is too many to just have them in half the GH, but not enough to warrant, having some in the GH, some in the main stand. I think, what I did like, and I know it's probably not cost effective, but I liked when we played Bristol Rovers at home last season, and there was no Bristol Rovers fans in the main stand. All of the Bristol Rovers fans were in one half of the GH, and then Posh fans were in the other half. And the back and forth and the atmosphere, considering it was a pretty, Bristol Rovers at home and nothingy game, it created a real atmosphere having us all in the same stand. Now, I've had similar conversations to you, it seems, Ash, where people have broken down the cost to me of stewarding and policing and catering and stuff, and said that it is probably not worthwhile. Also, you have to open more turnstiles if you do that, so you're then paying for turnstile operators as well. There's a lot of hidden costs into splitting the GH that people don't realise, but I do like it. And if it does become more cost effective or does become a solution in the future, it'll be something that I'd definitely be behind for games like, Bristol Rovers and teams that only bring a couple of hundred of fans.
The next comment, Chaz, is if no Gustav, should Pemi really be given a space on the bench ahead of the highly hyped Bolu? I'm going to be totally honest with you, Paulie. I think that Gustav will drop off the bench. Obviously, if he's injured, I think that Pemi will drop off the bench. I don't think that Bolu will make the bench because Jimmy J. Morgan's back fit again. And I think that he's probably the best option to replace Harry Leonard or pair up with Harry Leonard if we're chasing the game. We know that Luke Williams doesn't really like to rest on his laurels, does he? He likes to sort of keep attacking and keep going forward. So I think that Jimmy J. Morgan, I don't think we're going to see Jimmy J. Morgan start tomorrow. I think that would be a little bit too much, but what a player to bring off the bench. Yeah,
I think the thing with... I actually do think Pemi will be on the bench again because Gustav was on the bench at Lincoln. He just didn't come on. So Jimmy J. Morgan will take Gustav's spot, but then Pemi still has a spot on the bench, if you know what I mean, by the numbers of it. Bolu on the bench, maybe. But the thing I'd say about Pemi actually is Luke Williams said in his pre-match interview, which he doesn't often do, that Bolton are a very good team on the ball, and so he might have to sacrifice a bit of possession in the game. And that suggested to me that there may be times where we go a bit more direct and we're looking to hold the ball up, and Pemi probably is a better option than Bolu for that. So I'd probably stick with Pemi on the bench. But also, if we get to see a bit of Bolu, then go for it. I mean, Ash, we've both been very impressed with him when we've watched him for the under-18s. So I'd like to see him play for the first team at some point this season. Obviously, us being knocked out the virtue in the way that we were and not having that sort of last free hit game in the group stage and stuff has sort of scuppered him this season. So maybe is the answer to that one. I'd quite like to see Bolu involved, but Pemi probably for tomorrow's game does make more sense.
Yeah, I think that Bolu's going to be the type of player that we see, like, once we know that, let's say, the playoffs are out of reach and we know that we're safe, 5 or 6 games, I think that we then start to see him for 20, 30 minutes or so. Chaz, I've got something to whet your appetite with. Imagine having Matthew Garbutt in that 23-24 team instead of Randall. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I would. I think we would have gone up automatically, to be honest, because the couple of games where we just needed that moment of magic, I think Garbutt would have provided that when Randall didn't. I always think that I think about that 23-24 team all the time. It's like that X I just can't get over. Like, it's just rent-free in my head. I just sit there sad and think it was a super team, wasn't it? Like, I don't know if we'll ever see a better League One team at Posh. Like, you look at where the players are now as well. Tonight reports of Burrows making a £5 million move to Turkey. Ronnie Edwards, 4.5 million yesterday. Like, these are all players that are being involved in big money transfers now. Even players like Manny Fernandez, who is apparently was pretty terrible last season for us in patches. He was like not even involved in the squads really in the 23-24 campaign, and he's now starting and being praised constantly by Rangers fans. But yeah, I think if I could take any player from the current squad, would it be Garbutt? No, it wouldn't actually. Garbutt would be my second choice. I would take Harry Leonard instead of Ricky J. Jones up front. I think he would have scored an absolute he would have easily won the Golden Boot in that team that season. It felt like we just Like there was a lot of times where crosses were coming in, and we weren't getting on the end of it. And Ricky did well that season, but if we if we'd had Harry Leonard that season, we would have been very well off. But yeah, Garbett, if I could take two, it would be Garbett and Leonard. And I think if we had Garbett and Leonard in that 23-24 team, Jesus, like that would have been ridiculous.
Can I would actually like to top trump you with both of those players and say that I would take Alex Bass, because I think that our goalkeepers cost us a lot of points that season through not being able to make saves or dilly-dallying on the ball and all of those sorts of things. And I don't think that Alex Bass makes any of those mistakes from what we've seen in the last 4 months. I think Alex Bass, he had a difficult September when he was coming back from injury, but since then, he's been absolutely quality, hasn't he?
He was still our player of the month for September as well, I'm pretty sure, because of Plymouth away and stuff. Like he's been unbelievable this season. So good.
Not so posh. Caden, if you are still listening, Not so posh 9051 says that your vlogs are superb for us who sometimes have to work on a Saturday afternoon. Harry Stevenson is now saying that he wants to see me walking out with a player at some point this season. Not entirely sure where that's come from, but
yeah.
Mark once says, Charlie, what was your favourite song to sing, Charlie? That's a good question, isn't it?
Well, okay, this is going to be a bit of a law drop, but I was a musical theatre singer. I was in shows in London in the West End from when I was like 8 to 13. So, you know, a lot of musical songs. What do I like to sing? I've got a bit of like a crooner type voice. So I like Frank Sinatra and that sort of thing. But I enjoy singing those kind of songs. Anything... I don't like the fast stuff. I cannot sing fast. Like, it has to be slow and elongated. Otherwise, as you probably have heard several times tonight, my mouth just gets sort of twisted. I just can't do like the fast stuff. But anything slow, but with a bit of upbeatness to it, so it's not too down. I quite like that. Yeah.
Fair enough. You're not going to give us a sing-song, are you? Maybe that'll be a forfeit for you specifically if you finish bottom of the predictions league. However, I think it's a battle between me and Harry at the moment.
Yeah, no, I will. If you can get me, drunk enough at some point, I'll probably do karaoke, but that's the most you're going to get from me.
Next question. Do you think switching ends makes that much of a difference? I think it does. I do genuinely believe, and you didn't hear it from me, but I know that the players love it when the fans are in the GH. So I think that whether it's keeping us to a clean sheet for the first 45 minutes when Alex Bass is in that goal right by us, and then attacking the GH in the second half, I think it does make a difference. So yeah, I would like to see that tomorrow. I'd like to see the players switch ends and attack the GH in the second half, even if it may not be as full as we all like it to be.
Yeah, I think the GH played a massive part into us getting back into the Reading game. We were switched, and when Gustav scored in front of that pretty full GH, that was a fantastic GH turnout that night. When Gustav scored, there were some serious limbs in that end, and then the atmosphere, nearly sucked the ball into the goal, and the Reading defenders, there's proper bodies on the line stuff, but they looked stressed defending in front of the GH. And I've also heard similar things to you, Ash, firsthand from players that, yeah, it really does make a difference when there's fans all around the stadium making noise, and they love it when we're in the GH too.
Yeah, do you know that this was a surprise, wasn't it? Did we discuss this in our final whistle episode? That Rio Adebisi was on the pitch having a little run out. How good is that to see? Fingers crossed. We've seen him in a clip very briefly, I think, on social media today or yesterday, that he was also doing some more running on the grass. It's a positive, isn't it? This is a man that we spent a lot of money on. Hopefully we can see something from him, because apparently he's a good left back. I'm hoping that we get to see that come February time, maybe. Luke Williams didn't want to put a date on it, did he, Charlie? So
yeah, I'm the same.
Let's just let it run its course.
I'm the same as Williams. Like, I'd hardly even want to talk about Adebisi. I feel so bad for the guy. I just want, if he randomly starts showing up on our team sheets towards the end of the season, then fantastic. But I'm not counting on it, and I'm not gonna, be every week on his back about coming back, because what a tough 18 months that guy's had, eh?
Yeah, I agree. And nobody wants to see a player out injured for that long, and I just hope that he can kickstart his career from, well, whenever he comes back. Let's not put any pressure on the lad. Hopefully he's going to turn out to be a fantastic footballer for Peterborough. I can't actually remember how long we signed him for. Can you remember, Chaz? Was it a 3 year?
I think it was a 3 year. That was the standard back then. Maybe 3+1.
Hopefully we can get an extension on that if he has a good last 3 months of the season.
I mean, you think so? You'd absolutely think so. Like, you know what? That would piss me off. Imagine we nurse him back to full fitness. He has a great few months, and then it's like, no, I'm not extending my contract. You've rehabilitated me. Now, then that would be some serious head loss.
Yeah, I'm with you. Dean Netherlands says he does really like Garbett, but his decision making when shooting is poor. Always tries to hit half volleys from every angle and on the edge of the box, and constantly drags his shot. But he has scored 2 from the edge of the box as well, hasn't he? So, it's a law of averages, and he's not taken that many shots, has he? The free kick at the weekend against Lincoln was a little bit annoying because it looks like he's got the right technique. And I think we've seen down the far end, the keeper was forced to save one. And then there was one against Reading that the keeper was forced into a save as well. So he's clearly got that. But I think from where it was against Lincoln, I think that was probably a little bit too far. Charlie, do you think that Carl Johnston's at left back tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't think we've really got a lot of other options, to be honest. Actually, we don't have any other options really, other than if we're going to, move Kioso out there or bring JD in or something. No, it will be CJ again. One thing I know about CJ is he's a very motivated individual, and he will be absolutely all over trying to make up for his mistakes at Lincoln. I think that'll be a big thing for him, is trying to prove to the fans. He took full accountability, didn't he? And so can't really complain. He's been very good there. And he got, slagged off by us and by other people after the Lincoln game, which was deserved. But at the end of the day, he's doing a decent job. The only other thing you could do is move O'Connor out to left back. He is a left footer, and I think he's stood in there before at times for Burton, I think, and maybe even Wrexham. Maybe if we had Big Dave, I think that becomes a lot more of a reasonable option. But no, I think it will carry on with the same back 4, back 5, if you can count the goalkeeper, as we had last week.
Yeah, do you know what my issue with that is as well? Is that George Nevitt played against Bolton the last time, and he had a torrid day, didn't he? And I think that bringing him in for this fixture, you're right, Chaz, is just not going to work. He's going to have rings run around him. So I think that we stick with what we know. Yes, we conceded 5 against Lincoln last time out, but we're not going to see the same threat, are we, that we saw the last time. So I would say same back 4 plus goalkeeper. I think that's a no-brainer. Shall we move on to some predictions, Charlie? Because people have been sending theirs in like no man's land.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So I am, of course, going to put the ticker up that reminds you all to let us know your score predictions and to enter the next level Barbell Club Predictions League at uptheposhcast.com/NLBC-predictions-league. And with that said, let's get some predictions up. I'll run through mine and the 4 other hosts. Charlie, you can then talk us through yours. I have gone with a confident 3-0 win tomorrow. I don't think that Bolton have got their goal-scoring boots. They definitely don't look like they have in their last few games. And I've gone for a stray one, Tom O'Connor.
Yeah.
To score first, because I think at some point we've just got to score from a set piece and a corner, haven't we? We've been pretty poor. So I'm hoping that the reason that we've been poor is that we've not had the time on the training ground this week. What have we had? We've had the time on the training ground. So I'm hoping that we've put some new set piece techers into play. And the lads are going to go out there. Brandon Keller's going to go float one in. Tommy Connor's going to rise highest above all of the other players on the pitch. He's going to bullet one into the back of the net. And then we go on and we win 3-0. Harry's gone 3-2 Posh win with Cairo Lisby to score first. John has gone 2-1 Posh. Lods has gone 3-0 Posh. And Max has gone 2-0 Posh, with all 3 choosing Harry Leonard as their first goal scorer. Charlie, that just leaves yours. Do you want to talk us through your prediction?
Yeah, I've gone 2-1. I think I don't see us keeping a clean sheet. I think we are going to concede a goal. Bolton still have a lot of quality, even if they don't. aren't showing it necessarily at the moment. I think the pattern of the game, though, is going to be that we race into a 2-0 lead. I think we're going to see a real reaction after Lincoln, and we'll be 2-0 up at half-time. I think it's going to be a Cobblers-esque then, final 15 minutes, where they claw one back and then are really sticking it on us. But the character of the team shines through. Bass is catching crosses like, nobody's business, and we just see out the game. And any win against Bolton tomorrow, because as downtrodden as their fans sounded, they're still placed 5th in the league, would be a fantastic result, a really, really good result. We've got a tough run of fixtures now, and it'll be a great start to that, to beat Bolton at London Road. So looking forward to the game, and I think it will be a Posh win.
Yeah, do you know, that's a good point, isn't it, Charlie? And I think that's where, when we were at the bottom of the league in the relegation zone, it felt like every game was a must win. Now that we are mid-table, actually it gives you the chance to reflect and go, okay, do we actually expect to beat the team that's 5th in the league? Did we expect to beat Lincoln? Now we should probably be looking at the 12 teams that are below us in the league and going, right, they're the fixtures that we want to win for the rest of the season, versus the teams above us. If we can beat them at home or we can get a draw away, then that's a good result. But at the same time, if we lose to them, like when we lost to Lincoln, it's not disastrous. It's not the end of the world. And as long as we just keep trotting around that, I would say probably 7 points in 4 games, like each 4-game period, then I think that's probably a good turnout for Posh. One question before we go from VRJacob.1. When do you think that Sam Hughes is back? I'm going to be honest, I don't think we'll see Sam Hughes this season. I think we
will. I think we'll see him in March, back end of March. But I don't think he's going to play a big role this season. I think he'll come off the bench and be integral to us seeing out games, maybe. And obviously, if we go on that run, I think he will be a good addition back into a sort of playoff push. And it wouldn't surprise me if he manages to muscle his way back into the team by the end of the season. I'm not as downtrodden about the new, what was it, scarring? An extra scarring issue that meant that they had to reoperate was, I think, what Dara said, which doesn't sound terrible. But yeah, I think we will see Sam Hughes before the end of the season. I don't think he's going to spend the whole time injured.
The only reason that I say that I don't think that we're going to see Sam Hughes before the end of the season is just purely because I don't want to rush him back. And I don't think that if Dave's back in 6 weeks, did DMAC say, that then puts us up to 4 centre-backs again. Do we then need to rush Sam Hughes back? Can we then let him have a longer rehab so that we know that 100% the issue doesn't flare up again and we have long-term issues down the line? And we'll be in the bracket to make sure that whenever we get rid of Sam Hughes, that we make money on him. So we need him in as fit a state as possible, because Sam Hughes will be the perfect League Two, I'm going for promotion purchase when he makes the next step of his career, I reckon. But yeah, who knows what'll happen. You got anything else you want to add, Charlie? I think we're done.
Not really, other than get your tickets for tomorrow. Wrap up nice and warm, because it is going to be a chilly one. Boo Joel Randall if he gets on the pitch. Other than that, not really got a lot else to say. Up the Poshcast.
Yeah, I think you're there. I think that I'm there. I will only mention that if any businesses, local businesses, national businesses, regional businesses, or worldwide businesses,
get some global businesses involved,
want to partner up with Up the Poshcast, please do drop us an email at contact@uptheposhcast.com. We would love to show you and showcase everything that we can bring for your business. With all that said, though, Chaz, Up the Poshcast.
Up the Poshcast.